G'day, ZiggyD here, and welcome back for another Path of Exile farming guide. In the last one of these, I showed you guys City of San farming and Midnight Fragment farming in general, sort of the combined approach there. The idea was that you farm City of San for very fast fragments, and you also get the occasional Midnight Fragment, as well as some gear for the Chaos Vendor recipe, and you earn a bit of currency that way, and then you eventually chain the other Sacrifice Fragments that you get, and get those Midnight Fragments to sell and make more currency. And that proved to be pretty profitable. We made something like 5 to 6 exalts in about 6 hours, 6-7 hours. It was pretty good. I was able to buy my Ming's Heart with that. So I think overall, a few people tried that and were pretty satisfied with the results of that. And I was pretty satisfied with the results of that as well. But that's not enough. We need to test other things. We need to try and find different alternative ways of farming to see if we can find things that are more efficient, more reliable, more fun, or just plain alternatives. Sometimes it's nice to have a bit of variety in our Path of Exile farming diet. So in this video I want to talk about Twilight Strand split farming. This is kind of an idea I came up with after a few people recommended to me Twilight Strand for farming the fragments instead of City of San. The idea was that in Twilight Strand 2 separate corrupted zones can spawn. This essentially doubles the rate at which you encounter these corrupted zones in a very short run. In fact, it's a shorter run than City of San, or about the same length if you use something like Portal Gem to portal out halfway through the run, like you can do in San. So it's very fast, but a much higher spawn rate of the corrupted zones. The drawback is, of course, because it is a below level 60 zone, Sacrifice at Midnight Fragments cannot actually drop in those corrupted zones. So you're essentially saying I have a 0% chance of getting any Sacrifice Fragments to sell. However, the upside is that potentially I get more of the other fragments, I produce those at a faster rate, I can then chain those later in the map system and make more currency through being more time efficient. That's the concept, that's the idea, and a lot of people said that they had a very good time with this. Now I got to thinking about this and I thought this is an alright concept by itself, and I thought back to closed beta. One of the really popular farming methods in closed beta was to make like a low life magic find character and run Twilight Strand in Merciless, or even in one of the earlier difficulties. Stack as much magic find as you can and just teleport or leap slam or do whatever you can to get really quickly through Twilight Strand, get to Hillock, kill Hillock, get some uniques, get some rares. Hillock doesn't drop all that much loot, but when it's a very fast run, when you stack a lot of magic find, he does drop a bit of extra stuff. So I kind of got to thinking about this old school style magic finding run, and I thought, if this is a decent corrupted farming zone, maybe we can kind of double these things. Maybe we can fuse this and make like a split fragment magic find farming route. And I thought, this actually has some potential, I think. The idea is you create a character that's probably going to be pretty over-leveled for Twilight Strand. You're not going to be getting any XP or anything like that in there. You stack as much magic find as you can while still being able to clear the zone quickly. You run through the zone, check for the corrupted zones. If the corrupted zones spawn, you farm them for the fragments. You get very fast fragments doing that. And about 2 out of 3 times you get a corrupted zone spawn in that because of, there's 3 different options. There's one corrupted zone, there's the second corrupted zone, and then there's Hillock. So 2 out of 3 times you're getting the corrupted zone and potentially getting a fragment. And then when they don't spawn, you would just instead run to the end of the zone, kill Hillock, maybe get the occasional unique and a bit of rares and things like that to sell to vendor. Now on top of this, because you're stacking that magic find in the actual corrupted zones, these have improved quantity, so you can kill blue packs and rare packs in there if you want, or you can just kill the bosses and get increased drops from there. And based on 2 hours or so of testing I did of this, the bosses actually drop a lot. Like, they drop more than Hillock. Hillock doesn't really drop much. He's kind of just a consolation prize if a corrupted zone doesn't spawn. But that stacking quantity plus any rarity and quantity you can get on your character means that you can essentially get a decent amount of guaranteed income over time as well, because all of those rares that drop can be vended for alteration shards. Very occasionally you'll get something sellable, and very occasionally you'll get a unique that's sellable or can be vended for shards. And then you get all those fragments that you can then chain and run. So let's switch on over here and I'll show you guys how I did. I did approximately 2 hours of farming here in my Twilight Strand testing I did the other night. And We'll first bring up this image just here, because this one is the is essentially the what I got from running Twilight Strand for 2 hours. Now there's approximately something like I would say 10 to 15 chaos worth of random currency here. Just actually probably just a little bit less than that. We managed to get a couple of uniques, nothing very special. Aramvarax may be worth an Alg, Lionized Paws may be worth a Chaos, and these guys are worth nothing, like Dodra's Tenor, the Last Resort, and whatever that helmet's called again. Those guys vendor for shards, essentially, but I wanted to show you what I got, essentially. Got a bunch of VAAL skill gems. I did find this belt here, which I can show on screen just here for you guys, which is just an example that potentially sellable stuff can drop. If you're doing this early in a league, this would sell for a couple Chaos. Later in a league, this is like an easy Chaos or something, so nothing particularly special, but you can still get decent jewelry at lower levels and occasionally decent armor. But here's the real winner just here. This one also dropped during those runs you can see down there. This belt just here dropped during farming Twilight Strand. It's only level 43 there, relatively low eye level because of the zone it was dropped in. But it's got all those stats. It's got increased elemental damage with weapons, a good life roll, decent fire resist, a bit of cold resist, and the enemy stun threshold reduction on a physical damage sash base. That's a good belt. That's worth at least 5 chaos, probably more. Earlier in a league could be, 15 chaos plus. So a very, very nice item there, considering the low eye level. So I just wanted to show these to kind of demonstrate the fact that you can actually find items in here that are still worth something despite being a lower level zone. Jewelry is the easiest things that can still be valuable, but occasionally you'll get armor. Weapons are never really going to be very good, apart from maybe a very well rolled spellcaster weapon. But I also found, wait. Okay, so during that farming, I found exactly this many fragments here, which I believe is exactly 20. So I found 20 fragments during 2 hours, which was better than what I was getting in Sarn. I definitely noticed that it was a much faster return on fragments during that Sarn time. Now it took me 2 hours. Now in that 2 hours, obviously I got no midnights because I was doing that, and this is essentially what I made. Nothing too impressive, but a decent little amount of currency for the effort, for the ease of farming, I would say. I then took all of those fragments and spent the next 45-ish minutes just simply chaining those fragments and absolutely smashing those out. I probably could have done it a lot quicker if I was sort of trying to. And in that time I had a Queen of the Forest drop, which is worth a couple chaos. I had, a bunch of extra gems drop. Essentially, from running those fragments, I had extra runnable fragments drop, and eventually, after about that 40-45 minutes, we nailed it all down to 1 sacrifice at midnight. So, over the course of less than 3 hours, we ended up getting 1 midnight, plus all this stuff here, probably total about an exalt's worth of currency, so nothing particularly spectacular. This is not going to break the bank anytime soon, this is not going to replace party runs, and even, I would say it's not really better than Sarn farming runs, because on those Sarn farming runs, the thing that I think tips it over the edge, although we were getting faster fragments, we didn't have the potential for midnights, that kind of isn't too bad, it kind of balanced out, but the fact you can get the Chaos Vendor recipe in Sarn, in addition to getting all this normal sort of alteration shards and stuff, meant that City of Sarn was far more profitable, I think. I was making closer to an Exalt an hour running City of Sarn and going back and chaining fragments back and forth, whereas compared to 3 hours making about an Exalt's worth of currency. So nothing hugely impressive, but this is a guide to an alternative method of farming you guys can employ. It's extremely easy. You can have a character that can't even really do Act 3 content, and you can still smash out Twilight Strand, so it's something you can do earlier with a poorly geared character if you're not quite able to get into endgame yet, or it's just something you can do for a bit of a chill out session every now and then. Now, just as an FYI, this character was only stacking 150 rarity and 10 quantity. If you're playing like a low life character stacking like 400 rarity and 40 quantity or something like that, you're going to have a much better time, because Hillick especially and those other bosses start dropping much more stuff as you start getting that higher rarity and higher quantity. So this could be potentially much more profitable because of the speed of it, but just based on my testing, nothing too exciting, but thought it might be something you guys like to see. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.